Have we got Kurt?
I am.
All right, let's bring on Kurt Schlichter to discuss this further. Kurt Schlichter, there he is. We've got half your head, Kurt. There, we got to move your camera up so I can see the top of your head, or down, or whatever. There, or just or just lower your chair. Kurt is the author and senior columnist at townhall.com. He is a named partner at a growing Los Angeles trial law firm, a retired Army infantry colonel with a master's in strategic studies from the United States Army. He's also just a terrific writer. He's got 2 novels we're going to talk about, and you can find him on Twitter at Kurt Schlichter, KurtSchlichter. How you doing? I can't hear him. Hold on, I can't hear you, Kurt. Just a minute.
Of course not. Of course no one can hear me.
Okay, try again.
Because it's that kind of day.
No.
Can you hear me?
Now I got you. Okay.
Okay, great. Because everything isn't going wrong today. Let's make a deal with Schumer because that always works out well. Let's drop the sanctions against Iran because, I don't know, let's just do it. The drummer for Husker Du died at 56. Everything's going wrong.
It's a bad day. But still, I have to ask you this. Are you the person who coined the term Pelonial Pantsuit to describe Hillary Clinton?
Pelonial Pantsuit. Yes, in fact, I am.
Well, it's an honor. It's an honor then to have you on my show. That is one of. I keep using it, and it's brilliant. So at least we're not dealing with Pelonial Pantsuit. That's. I lost him again.
It's not president.
Yes, that's right.
Yes, that's right.
So
she is not president, no matter how bad it gets. She's not president.
Listen, turn your sound down a little bit because it's echoing here.
Okay, there we go.
All right.
All right. Better?
Let's see. Is that better? Yes, it is. A little better. So you have been a kind of a supporter of Donald Trump in the sense that you don't jump on him no matter what he does. You haven't listened to the never Trumpers on the right. On a day like this, when Trump seems to have spun a little bit out of control to come back to his Democrat instincts, how are you feeling? What does this make you think is going to happen?
Well, let's put it this way. At about 6:30 a.m., I wrote up a 1,000-word column for Town Hall, which is now up, called "Read My Lips: Schumer's Playing You for a Fool." So, look, I was a Cruz guy until he became the nominee. And then it was either him or her. I'm a military guy. You play with the pieces you're given. You come with the army you have. He was the army we have. I have felt my attacks on him during the primary season were brutal and accurate, and I don't withdraw any of them. I thought that my best role was over the last year or so, since he got the nomination and eventually elected, was not to pick apart the things he's doing wrong, and there were plenty of them, and there are plenty of other people doing that. Mine was to point out the things that he was doing right, to help keep the base's morale up, to point out why, the sky isn't necessarily falling. And even today, the sky's not falling.
Right.
Okay? Hillary is not our president, no matter what happens. And of course, you and I are both personally to blame, along with the rest of the universe for that, everything but her. But sometimes you just have to say, wait a minute. And I'm not mad that he's quote unquote betraying me, because I always knew he was a 70% guy.
Right. Reagan,
90%. Cruz, 95%. He even likes the kind of sexy librarian, erotic entertainment that, most of us agree with. I knew that Trump, 70% of the time, I was going to go, hey, cool, pull out the climate scam fraud. That's good. But then he was going to do something else like, well, Ivanka really wants family leave, and I'm not going to like that. But you know what? The majority of Americans don't agree with me.
Yeah.
So I'm going to take what I can.
What is kind of surreal is that this is the way before Barack Obama Washington used to work. People lied and they went in and they made deals and they compromised, and people followed their personalities. It's amazing that an offbeat president like Trump, a really outlandish president like Trump, is actually bringing us back to normalcy after the Obama years. I mean, we've been sold this idea that Obama was a terrible president, and he was an ideologue, and now suddenly things are moving, things are flowing a little bit.
Look, I think that, guys like you and me who follow this stuff and are emotionally invested in it, I get angry when he doesn't do something that's super conservative.
Sure.
Because I'm conservative. But, I've been listening, I listen to some talk radio, listen to some normal people, and there's some people out there going, well, I'm a pretty conservative guy, but I like that he's getting some done.
Yeah.
And there are people out there who don't have my agenda. And one of the things I've learned in the last 2-3 years is a lot of Americans don't have my exact agenda. And I think a lot of people in Conservative Incorporated, of which I am a member, forgot that normal people have a little bit different interests than we do.
Yeah.
And, for instance, free trade. I love free trade. But was I thinking about the guy at the carrier plant who's 58 years old and suddenly gets told, your job's going to Juarez, you have a kid in college, you got a mortgage, maybe you should take up coding for $8 an hour if you can find a job, because Milton Friedman says so.
Yeah, well, that's exactly right. And, conservatives, in fact, people who love freedom, who put freedom first, are always in the minority. We always have to find friends who have other interests to join with us, and we always have to make compromises. And actually, there's so many on the right who do not understand that simple fact that we are the minority.
Being a conservative is like being a fan of a really good band that hasn't signed yet and nobody else knows about.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's like, well, you got your Nickelback, but I'm listening to, the Electric Prunes too, The Quickening.
So
it's just.
So when you look at the Never Trumpers now, I mean, you have been really hard on them. You have really kicked them around the block, and it's been hilarious, by the way.
Been hard on a class of Never Trumpers. A guy who opposes Trump, Ben Shapiro is the ultimate. He opposes Trump when he thinks Trump is wrong.
Right.
He supports Trump when he thinks Trump is right. And he's rigorously fair about it. That is what he does. Now, I don't pretend to be rigorously fair. I avoid criticizing him intentionally because I think other people are filling that role. And I'll tell you that. You never criticize Trump. Well, it's not never, but mostly I don't. Because that's not, I'm not a critic. I'm an advocate. Mm-hmm. I'm a trial lawyer in real life, and I do dress like this. I want my side to win, and I think I best serve it by advocating. Now, a lot of the Never Trumpers, though, I think are mad because Trump and his movement, which is really bringing in to the Republican Party, which was very concerned with being on the right, they're bringing in now an anti-establishment axis. So it's an uncomfortable coalition between people who are primarily right-wing and people who are primarily anti-establishment. And they're upset that their sinecures are being upset.
Right. Right.
Now maybe, we're not maybe selling as many cruises as we used to. Now people aren't listening to me or reading me as much. And I think there's some insecurity out there that's driving some of this. There are a lot of guys who would like to go back to the Obama years because they were perfectly happy in the minority, kind of in the minority, though we had Capitol Hill. It really didn't matter much. It still doesn't. And I think there's a lot. One of the things I've noticed is there's a lot more personality going on than you would have thought. The conservatism is not a rigorous debate of ideas. It's human beings in a giant high school. And some of us are on the debate team, and some of us are jocks, and some of us are never going to make out with a cheerleader.
Yeah, I've come to terms with that, Kurt. Tell me about your novels. You have written novels that you have been publishing. You published yourself, but they've done tremendously well. What was the last one called?
The last one was called Indian Country. The first one I published a traditional one. You were one of the guys I talked to. Right. And you were one of the guys who said, look, you got to get a traditional one. You got to just do it. And Mike Walsh was another guy. When I was talking to people like you who'd been established doing that. So I did it. And Conservative Insurgency is a quote-unquote real book. And I got a real publishing contract, which was really crummy, like most publishing contracts. And I decided I had done some previous things on Amazon. And I decided to use the new technology and do novels. And I could do them my way on my time frame with my royalty rate. and I could put them out fast. You know how long it takes for these guys to do a novel. I could finish a novel, have it proofread, copy edited, and have it up in a matter of days.
Yeah.
I mean, days. And then it's selling, and I'm getting the check 2 months later.
It's a beautiful, beautiful thing. What? Tell me quickly. I'm going to have to go, but tell me quickly what the book is about.
Both books, People's Republic and Indian Country, are adventure novels. You got an operative in a world where the United States is split into red and blue states, and he goes into the blue states and has various adventures. And there's lots of humor. There's lots of shooting. All the guns are explained in great detail because, Andrew, I know my audience, and people are really responding well. I'm selling a ton of them.
That's great, Kurt. It's great to see you. Great to talk to you, and we'll talk to you again another time.
We need to do lunch soon.
Soon, yes, absolutely. Kurt Schlichter, you can find him at townhall.com. He's a senior columnist there, and you can find him on Twitter at KURTSCHLICHTER.